Hello, PDHP parents. Happy Monday. And I hope that you all had a great Thanksgiving and some time with your family and your friends, even though it may have been a different Thanksgiving. I hope that it was memorable nonetheless. We are looking at our hashtag parents piece still. On Wednesday, we went over a couple of what we called parent homework items. We talked about alternatives to getting a device, especially at this time of tech gifting that we have going on lately as a trend. We talked about supervising the use of tech devices and the social media and the profiles and the accounts and the games that kids are interested in. We talked about limitations, whether they're physical limitations, where these devices can be used, where they can be taken, just thinking about that for a minute, even if you are doing play dates at different times. Maybe you don't do it so much now during COVID, but it's an idea to discuss during play dates. Would the kids be playing on a device? Would that be appropriate? How do we work that out? Is that okay with the other parent? And limiting places that they can take this device, maybe keeping it really public, even in your own households, limiting times of use. Okay. We also talk about modeling the behaviors that we would like to see our children participate in when it comes to social media. Because remember, they're always watching us and not as much hearing us, but watching the things that we do and replicating them. That's how they learn, they emulate. So thinking even about our own tech use. Are we docking our phones at different times? Are we taking calls during important times with our kids, picking them up from school, having meal times with them? Are we on our phone so much that it kind of contaminates the time that we have with them? It's very easy for our time to be contaminated. We could be working, we can be getting texts from a friend, we can be texting a friend and getting emails from work, and it becomes very convoluted, especially during this time. So it is important to set different boundaries of what can happen when. There's this need always to respond right away now that we have social media because the item is on our person. So maybe just slowing that down a little bit for our response. There's also a parent or two who, in the past year or so, had brought up to me our own use of communication on devices. And she likened this idea to, growing up, maybe our parents would talk to their spouses, their best friends, their neighbors, their family, about issues that were going on. But now there is a feeling to take it to social media, to take it to a group text, to put it out there a little bit more. And what really could be just maybe a venting session and a sharing session, as parents, we create more out of it. And our kids are watching it and our kids are attuned to that. Is this really something that we need them to be privy to? So maybe slowing that down a little bit. Communicating with your kids. Ask them, what is it that you want this device for? Why do you want it? What do you intend to do with it? And that goes for apps that they want to download onto their devices as well. What is it? Show me. How do you use it? Why do you want to use it? And go from there. And then ask every now and then to see it, to see what's going on that particular device, to check in on messages. And let that be a communication piece as well, because you are bonding and creating trust between yourself and your child that you want for a lifetime. So if you say to them, these are the expectations that I have, and I will be checking back on them in these manners, as you go on, then you may have more freedom, you may have more responsibility, but also bringing up that idea that maybe it's not their behavior that you're concerned about, others' behavior towards them as well, that you need to work on keeping them safe, okay? Bringing them in, making it like a team effort, right? Joining in for yourself. Are you social media savvy or not? It doesn't matter. But if your kids are, you may want to sit down and dedicate some time to playing a game with them or following them on Instagram so that you can see what's going on. In a way, you get a little snapshot of your child's life, right? Through their eyes. That's a great thing. The other thing is even considering setting up a person who you know your child trusts and has a good relationship with and is another caring adult that would be able to bridge that gap for you. You know, maybe it is that aunt or that godfather that's trusted. You know, maybe they're the ones who kind of bridge that gap and let them know, hey, you know what? I don't really like what you posted there. Let's think about that. Or, you know, encourage them when it's something really positive. And finally, make tech work for you and not the other way around. Get very clear, is this something that you want to manage for your kids? How deep do you want to go with this? Because for some parents, they hear all this and they say, you know what, I'm really not ready to do this, to add this to the list of things. So be honest about that. Because ultimately, it's going to come down to your responsibility. So think about using those devices on their very own and recreating them to work for you. For example, there is a blog called Cool Moms Tech. Sorry, dads. Cool Moms Tech. And I find it very useful. There are ways that you can take an iPod or an iPhone and take out different settings and put in new ones that would suit your child's age group. They're not always foolproof. You know, I found my own child has found there's a lot to be desired on what she wants to look at and what is not available. But then you could leave that for your own discretion. So taking a look at that, taking a look at establishing your time limits within that phone. You know, at a certain time, maybe everyone's Wi-Fi goes out and their service cuts out and their phone shuts down. You could do that. You know, and thinking about rules. Hey, if we text you, you need to respond. You need to call. You know, we're putting a tracking device on it so that we know where you are when you're giving them a little more independence, perhaps. Having those conversations with your child about those tactics can build those bonds, can help to keep them safe, it can give them parameters. A lot of times we don't feel that our kids want parameters and boundaries, but they actually do. They thrive with those things because they know that there's someone looking out, that there's guardrails, there's a way to care, okay? And there's a place to go when it kind of pushes over. They'll go to you. They'll have that conversation. Hey, you know what? The picture that so-and-so posted really bothered me, and I'm really not sure why, okay? There are things that they will see on social media that can disturb them, that can trouble them, that can just make them think. So going to you and having that safe space is very important. There's also monitoring apps that you can put on your phone. Of course, there's some like free ones and then you pay as you level up. Only about 16% of parents in the United States are using them. It's such a great way to manage these devices, so it could be something that you want to look into. One that I hear about a lot is NetNanny, and then Bark is one. Some parents say that it's better for younger kids, but it is something to consider, okay? And as we wrap up, just a question for you. What do you enjoy about using your own tech? I know that during this time, I've been really grateful for the work that I can do with my tech devices, with social media. I also know that I've really been able to keep in constant contact with my parents, my family, my friends. And that kind of keeps me going. It's an easy way to communicate. It's quick. Sometimes it's very lighthearted. So I hope that there is something that you're enjoying using your tech for, and feel free to share that. I hope you have a great day, and I thank you so much for joining along when it comes to hashtag parents, social media, and your child. Take care.